I finally have the new camis. You guys have been asking me this all over Snapchat, so here it is. What is up, guys? You're watching Nicky MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, if you have questions, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. And as always, we have a live stream 7 p.m. California time. Come hang out, have a good time. I can answer your personal questions directly there. As I posted a cool little snap that I just said, hey, what's different in this photo? My dog was in the photo. Everyone was like, oh, you got the new camis. And they were asking me about what I thought about the new camouflage uniform that came this year. I do want to say that this is not technically new. This is just going to be new for the entire Navy community. Whereas before, this was a normal thing for people like SEALs and Seabees, and because it was just authorized to them in Expeditionary Command, some other stuff. But I just wanted to say that now this is out for certain regions, and people before were curious as well, like, Nicky, why don't you have the new green uniform? And this is kind of an educational point. Anytime there is a uniform rollout, it doesn't just go mass to the entire population of the Navy, and that's because logistically that would be a nightmare, and it's easier to adapt one part at a time. So I'm luckily here in San Diego, where we were the first rollout stop for this, and there were no issues with actually getting the uniform. Obviously, there are delays with tailoring and things like that because there's a huge influx of people wanting the new uniform. But the new uniform, this is my second uniform change since I've been in. I originally had the dungarees, or the utilities, whatever people want to call them, but utilities, which were my first uniform. Then I ended up with the NW Type 1, and then now we're on the Type 3. I do want to say, if you already have the Type 1 and you're in boot camp, don't worry about buying this until you are going to get the money for it, most likely. And that's because of the fact that you're probably not going to want to drop a couple $100s if you're E1, E2, or E3. It's pretty pricey, just to give you guys a heads up. I spent total probably about $300, and that's because I bought new boots. But if you want to keep your old NW Type 1 black leather boots, you can do that. And if you're going to boot camp now, October or later, you're going to be receiving this new uniform. So you will not receive the NW Type 1 blueberry uniform. Let's go through this from the top all the way to the bottom. My camera decided not to work, so if it's a little different than the last shots, it's okay. I'm reshooting this. So we're going to get into how this is different than this. Covers, not much difference except the color. Now, I don't understand one thing, and that's why we went to continue with the patch on the cover itself. This is because I recently lost this cover, and I had to get a new one sewn on. I couldn't get a new patch sewn on. I ended up having to go off base to a place to get it sewn on, so I found that inconvenient. So I'm surprised we didn't go to something similar to like what the Marine Corps does, where there's like a universal cover with the eagle, globe, and anchor to it. So while that's the only time I see it being an issue, it did suck, and I had to pay a little money to get this done off base somewhere else. We're gonna start off with the top. There's a lot of good changes with this. Now, what's gonna seem really tedious to you guys, but if you're already in the Navy, you're gonna know this. You have what is called battle dress, and that affects you when you're in a battle situation where you man your station and you're supposed to button up everything to the top. With the previous top here, you actually had buttons that went all the way to the top, which you would button at that point, and that's how you did it. Also, you can see here that the collar is much thicker. It's probably about 2 inches in width, or maybe about 1.5 inches, but it's different on the new one. The new one, you have a much smaller collar. The little issue I have with this is the fact that sometimes it's hard to keep down. I don't know if that's just this specific top, but I noticed that. The other thing is, with battle dress now, you're gonna have Velcro. This is going to come across the top of your neck and Velcro to the other side. You're not going to button it anymore, so that is something to consider. You will have some buttons, but it's not going to be the same as what the old one was. I do like the collar at this point. I feel like it's a little more thick. It's more militant in this area, and it just feels better. The materials is good there. We have the flags on both sides of the shoulders, okay? We have this one and this one. These are actually optional. You can let them be, or you can put them on. And I don't like the naked look of just Velcro. I don't think it looks very nice. These will run you a little bit more money, but I think it looks better. Plus, you got to represent the flag and also the "Don't Tread on Me." I just think it looks way better. That's just my opinion, but you don't have to get them. Now, a big thing here actually is going to be the rank. Now the ranks on the previous one were going to be on our collars on both sides. The issue with that is you'd have to pay to have somebody sew this on here and here, along with your US Navy name tape and your name tape and any warfare device and your cover. So you can see that could rack up some cash pretty fast just sewing those on. I doubt many of you guys are going to want to sew on your own patches. So with this new one, you just buy it, it slips right on, you pull this tab up, it slips on there, and you'll be fine. Most of you guys are going to be E1 to E3 when you come in, so you're not going to have anything right here anyway, but when you make E4 and higher, you're going to need to put something here. So it's just nice to know that it's a little bit less money you're going to spend to put some kind of rank insignia on there. I do want to say that this uniform, it feels like the top fits better. I like the length better. It doesn't squeeze my torso as much as my old one did, and it was just weird. This one felt like more durable, lighter, and I just enjoy this uniform way better for the top for that reason. Now we're going to move on to my favorite part of this entire uniform, the pants. And you're going to be like, Nikki, why do pants matter that much? I'm that person that, like, I buy a good pair of jeans and I just wear them because they're just perfect, and then they go dead, and then I gotta find a new pair of jeans. These are my pants. These are my new pants. I like these pants. They're good. So the old one here had the button and then it had a zipper. Not too bad as far as design, but for some reason I felt like the elastic just squeezed the crap out of my waist very tightly, and the whole uniform was good except this waist. I for some reason didn't like it. Everything else fit perfectly, but it just felt like no matter what size I got, it was either really big or really tight, and that just annoyed me. There's also a ton of belt loops on this one in comparison to the new one. That doesn't matter too much as a regular daily wear, but when you're in boot camp and you had to go through a lot of belt loops or make sure it went around every one for hits, for inspections and stuff, this one would have caused more issues versus the green one. This one, there's much fewer belt loops, as said. You can see on the back here there's only the 3, and there's the 2 up front, whereas that one had way more. I just had to count. There's 2 more on that one than this one. Now, but that's not the fact of why I like these pants. These pants are great because the waist, the elastic works, it fits snug but doesn't feel like it's squeezing the crap out of my waist. That's partially, I think, maybe due to this cloth that comes across, and what it's going to do is then button like so. So it kind of creates like this weird little fly thing right there, but that helps bring the pants together so it doesn't feel that way. And then it's buttoned up the entire way for the crotch here where it comes together. I really do enjoy the buttons versus the zipper. I think that it's better. Another thing is, when I got the old uniform, there were some design issues where the buttons kept falling off, but for a brand new uniform, this is rolled out. There's been no supply issues here in San Diego, so that's been great, and I've had no flaws. I've worn it for the past week. The big thing with this one is pocket space. It is now very militant in comparison to our old uniforms, where in the old uniforms we had the side pockets, you had cargo pockets, and pockets on your backside. So now you've got your side pockets, cargo pockets, which actually now have the buttons on them as well, but also you've got Velcro in here, and on top of that you even have pockets on the bottom part of the leg below the cargo pocket. So you have more than enough room if you're in some kind of operational environment or you needed to carry a lot of stuff with you. These pants are going to carry a lot of stuff versus the old pants, and I really enjoy that. There's also a new feature with these pants which are going to be a little different, which is they have these ties at the bottom to tighten them up. I don't personally really need this. I've never really had issues. It does make it a little tighter, but I didn't think that our old pants really had that many issues with being tight around your leg. But I could see that this would be a beneficial thing for those that, if they had that issue. Let's go to probably the most important part of the boot and what's going to affect you probably more than anything. What is on your feet? Now, if you guys didn't watch my boot camp video on how to shine a boot, I give you guys some background info on that. These are my boots that I had for 5 years wearing the Type 1 uniform. I also had the suede ones originally, but those got messed up, so I didn't really like those. Plus, it didn't really look that good in my opinion, and they're very expensive. Now, I've gone through now 2 uniform changes. When I had the utilities, as looked right here, if you haven't seen them, it was more like an ankle boot. It was cut off. We went to the NW Type 1, where this is a very militant boot, very high top, higher than the ankle, and as you can see, it's got a lot of wear and tear. You had to shine these, so that was kind of a downfall to them. Now, I do want to say that these boots are going to be authorized in Type 1 until that's ran out, and these are going to be on the Type 3s as well. I personally don't like the way that they look, but there are some caveats to that. This one, it's a steel toe boot. Now, you're going to be on a ship maybe, or most likely, for a lot of the Navy rates. What's going to end up happening is you need a steel toe shoe, and being leather, it's going to break in, it's going to be very durable. The downfall is you're going to have to shine it as well. But if you guys are getting these, you're going to need to make sure you hold on to them, because not every command is going to allow you to wear the other brown boots. You may have to wear these black boots unless your commanding officer authorizes the brown boots. Now, there's nothing really wrong with these. As far as aesthetically looking, I prefer the brown ones because I think it matches the shirt. But also you have the black and the camo pattern as well. So these match as well. It's just personal preference. And again, up to your commanding officer. I did buy the brown boots. These are the nice ones. They ran me 150 bucks. But like I said, those other boots lasted me 5 years. These should last a while. They are a suede top here. So they could get dirty if you're on a ship environment, if your CO did allow them. So I probably wouldn't suggest these if you're on a ship anyway, because if you had grease or paint or something, obviously it's not going to look too good on this. But I do personally enjoy these more than the leather boots, and that's because of the fact that I feel like they breathe a little bit better. They look better in my opinion, but also it's just like the flexibility. There's no issues with the top of the boot that I had to break in when I did my black leathers. So these, it's really, I'm just breaking in the bottom half here right now. You can get cheaper versions of this boot. I bought the nicest ones. They have the Nike version, which a lot of people do enjoy, but like I said, I don't see any Nike boots that have the steel toe. These have the steel toe as well, so if your CO authorized it, these could be an option for you as well. This could run you about $300 if you want to buy this plus the new uniform, but if you don't and you want to stick with the black boot, you could possibly pay around 140, 150 bucks. That's my review of it. I overall like it. I've worked in very hot environments in the Type 1 NW uniform, and I realized at that point, reflecting on seeing all these stories of people saying it's too hot, it's too hot. And I was like, yes, this uniform is too hot. I was in Indonesia and Southeast Asia regions where it was just very hot and I was very sweaty. Since I've been out, I've been outside in it the past week. I've noticed even when I'm in the sun, it's not as hot as the old uniform. It breathes a little bit better. I feel like the fit is better overall. Like I said, I like the boots, I like the waist, and I like the sizing of it. I don't know what changed with sizing, but the sizing of this just makes sense and fits my body a little better. Now, if you guys have questions on how to wear the uniform, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat. If you want to also look at regulations before you join the military, understanding how to wear a uniform, I'm going to put the link down below for the Navy Personnel Command. If you always have questions about how to wear a uniform, what's authorized in uniform, you can always go to Navy Personnel Command at this link. What they'll do is they have links on each uniform. You can click through, see how everything is supposed to be worn down to the socks. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can always go there, check it out, and you can also check that out for any kind of updates to uniform regulations, because these aren't set in stone. Some of them can change. And as always, guys, we have a live stream 7 p.m. California time. Come hang out. I answer your questions. And as always, guys, I love you guys. I'll see you next time.